The Telosians. Suffering is the current lot of much of the human population. We greet you, dear children of Earth. What tribulations! What transformations on the soil of your planet! What a magnificent world you have! Yes, regardless of what you might think of what is currently happening on your planet, it is magnificent. You might say, it would be even more beautiful, more radiant, if it weren't for all this violence, for all these various power struggles among a small group of rulers. They want to get their hands on this or that part of your earthly universe to seize what you call Earth's resources, such as oil and many other resources. For example, those needed to run your cell phones and computers. Yes, with all this, you are damaging the Earth. Yes, you are hurting her. Yes, you are causing suffering to certain populations who are being enslaved because, make no mistake, slavery is no longer practiced the same way it was hundreds of years ago, but it exists in other, more insidious forms. Humanity in some African countries is suffering, and you don't realize it. These people are forced to work in unacceptable conditions and are paid very little. This is human exploitation. It is part of human suffering. But, as you know, the ongoing wars are also causing suffering to people subject to the ruthless power of a handful of government leaders. Suffering. Suffering is the current lot of a large part of the world's population, and there seems no end in sight. We know that many of you are wondering when it will end. You say to yourselves, we are tired of seeing all this destruction, all this suffering. And we are also tired, especially in our country, France, of all these political disputes that remind us of children squabbling in a schoolyard. When will humanity finally get serious? When will peace and serenity finally return to our country and all others, amidst this violence? Dear children of Earth, you are currently in the most violent phase of the transition between the old and the new. The shadow knows its final moments are approaching, and it cannot accept this. So, it is doing everything possible to paralyze you, to make you live in fear. It is trying to annihilate you to gain the upper hand. This is why you are experiencing all the tribulations we spoke of earlier. And we tell you, as we have already mentioned in other messages, you are about to enter a period that will be very, very turbulent. We do not say this to instill fear, no. But we simply tell you that the shadow is about to reach the peak of its negative influence. We ask you to understand that all this is happening because it is necessary for the old to collapse completely, allowing renewal, the rebirth of light, to manifest for you. Yes, that is how it is. We ask you to have faith in life, even if you must face painful events. Trust in life, we repeat, because the more you trust in a future of light, the sooner all this will end. Dear children of Earth, we love you and wish you happiness. We know that more and more human beings are opening up to the understanding of life, and it is this life force that we ask you to embrace to reach the new Earth we speak of so often. This is because it is important that you understand that the old is finished. It cannot continue to exist because something more peaceful, more serene, and more luminous is about to come to you. We accompany you with great love. We, your galactic brothers and sisters of pure light. Crystalline opening and energy coherence, dearest ones. We are crossing a threshold like never before in our human history, a new crystalline opening, as my guides have described this new cosmic window, coexisting with the 55 passage, which will end at the end of August, and whose ripple effect will continue to impact all of us and our planet for months. As these new crystalline seeds will grow and expand, we're allowed to facilitate the transition of many souls into new evolved dimensions and our process of rehabilitating the 12th dimensional template. As we move deeper into 5th and 7th dimensional Earth timelines, many of you may feel drawn to the old Earth, with the feeling of having left behind loved ones or many other aspects of your previous life. When sadness arises for what we leave behind, we must remain steadfast in our sacred space, in communion with our soul, without allowing emotional self-sabotage or manipulation by others to reconnect us to the matrix. Clear parallel timelines, past situations, practice soul retrieval and the subsequent absorption, and surrender to the new metamorphosis you are undergoing. Remove all forms of toxicity from your life, from your relationships, even from artificial technological sources, astral influences, and other debris accumulated through residual energies in your bodies, for this is what restores personal power and allows for crystalline embodiment. We are moving from integrating plasma sources, which continue to be part of our daily embodiment, to interdimensional transmissions of crystalline/diamond silica, intended to help us awaken our 12th dimensional silica DNA and move to the 13th DNA filament. Because although we are 12th dimensional beings, we are all connected to a much larger divine matrix that extends to the 15th layer of divine expression. A crystalline seeding process is underway for our planet and for all ascending souls who wish to remain in energetic coherence, as this is the only way to continue activating our DNA and our light body. The energies, benevolent in nature, do not have permission to heal, purify, or enhance our DNA. The sooner we free ourselves from these distortions rooted in our community, the sooner we will begin to embrace our power to enhance our bodies. What leads to activation is our conscious intention and the inner work to transform obsolete structures within ourselves and the body, and the energetic coherence necessary to succeed in this process. Energetic coherence means producing only thoughts, feelings, and actions that align with who we truly are, regardless of their nature, because we are free to choose. When we remain in perfect alignment and create the same balance in our lives and relationships, we activate the necessary mechanisms to move to the next level. When we think one thing but act differently for various reasons, for example, because we have unconscious patterns that program us to repeat the same habits, we fail to generate enough life force and luminous acceleration to allow our bodies to ascend. We give different orders to our DNA and our bodies, and what we do prevails. To activate our light body and our mission, it is necessary to maintain absolute control over one's thoughts and actions, acting in harmony and coherence with the divine in every single moment. For meditation, decrees, or any healing tools will not help us if there is even the slightest misalignment. This is an important time to discern, enter into communion with our soul, and observe our life from above, realizing any patterns we need to release, any aspects we should unify, or anything else that is creating energetic distortion within ourselves or in our lives. The more we continue to activate our DNA, the greater the coherence needed to continue embodying higher levels of consciousness. Where we are headed, there are no hidden thoughts, feelings, or actions. Everything is revealed, because we cannot lie, consciously or otherwise, as was possible on old Earth. We are offered a window of self-control to make the necessary adjustments to anchor ourselves in the place to which we belong. This is a blessed period to make the energetic corrections required for our final transfer into the soul worlds. May you release all fear and continue to act in divine love and coherence, dearest ones. Within infinite love, Natalia Alba Galactic message. The Kutastha Chaitanya beyond the shifting tides of physical reality, beyond the constant movement of thoughts and emotions, regardless of external circumstances, within you exists a point of absolute stillness. This is the Kutastha Chaitanya, a Sanskrit term meaning that which remains unchanged. It is the inner silent witness, untouched by time, form, or the illusions generated by the space-time veils of the reality you live in. From birth, your awareness has been conditioned to identify with movement, to believe you are the body, the mind, the story, the flow. You are taught to anchor yourself to what changes, and so you experience instability, uncertainty, and separation. But this is not the true essence of your existence. Your truth is the unchanging center. Through meditation and inner stillness, you begin to shift your identification from the transient to the eternal. You begin to feel the presence of the Kutastha Chaitanya, calm, stable, and always aware. This is your true foundation. This is your true home. Remain connected to this unchanging essence within you, and it will anchor you as you observe the universal flow around you. Life will continue to flow. Forms will arise and dissolve. Experiences will come and go, but you will no longer be swept away by them. Instead, you will observe. You will know. You will be. Understand this. The universe is holographic in nature. All beings, all realities, all expressions of consciousness exist within your awareness. Nothing is truly separate from you. When you embody the Kutastha, you do not withdraw. You expand into the totality of existence. Today, we simply invite you to sit in silence. Turn within. Anchor yourself in the unchanging. From this space, clarity emerges. Peace stabilizes. Truth becomes self-evident. You are not the ever-changing storm, but the eternal point from which it is observed. Ascension to fifth density. Entering the new paradigm of conscious evolution, the new paradigm of fifth density is a high vibrational state of being. It is a consciousness founded on a deep connection with Source, expanding into universal truth, knowledge, wisdom, light, inner peace, clarity, experiences of joy, and a deeper interconnection where every form of sentient life is understood, honored, valued, respected, and loved. In this state, the sense of separation from the divine dissolves. Life is no longer defined by human struggle and self-sacrifice in the pursuit of material results or meeting external expectations. Instead, existence becomes an exploration of the metaphysics of the universe, a continuous journey of trust, learning, evolution, and expansion. It is, in essence, a return to sovereignty, a reality embodied by deeper meaning and purpose, benevolence and unity. This way of living is now available in the new Earth energy. By consciously expanding into the present moment, the true point of self-power, you facilitate the self's transition towards this new Earth paradigm. Although old reality structures may still dominate world systems, and some may still find themselves operating within them, with inner ascension, the self's allegiance will orient towards the ever-evolving evolutionary path. This shift involves tuning into the divine presence, developing inner peace, aligning with the soul's natural flow, recognizing and responding to synchronicities, and profoundly deepening your connection with Earth as a living, conscious entity. When the self aligns with this flow, you feel divinely guided. Old energetic layers of identity and self-perception dissolve rapidly as the expression of the true self unfolds. Diverging paths. Currently, only a small portion of humanity is deeply committed to the path of conscious ascension. Over time, more people may awaken through free will, recognizing Earth's changing energies and choosing to evolve accordingly. Many, however, will continue to anchor themselves to the structures and perceptions of the old reality, which feel familiar and may fear change. This divergence does not represent a failure of collective ascension. Everything unfolds according to evolution's timing. Those who do not resonate with the vibrational frequency of fifth dimension may likely continue their journey in environments aligned with their current level of consciousness development. In a universe oriented toward balance and harmony, paths are always available to expand consciousness growth, each appropriate to the soul's evolutionary stage. Seeing beyond the veil. As this mass transformation unfolds, the old reality gradually dissolves, paving the way for the emergence of fifth density consciousness. This process is already in full swing. It can be difficult to fully comprehend, especially if perceived through the lens of linear thinking, conditioned beliefs, and subconscious filters. Before awakening strengthens into full clarity, conscious perception is often shaped by preferences, fears, and inner resistances. These filters create illusions, interpretations of reality that reflect inner biases rather than truth itself. Recognizing this is essential, as it grounds conscious awareness. As you invest in merging with the nature of the higher self, the expanded cosmic self, this change becomes more tangible and real. Remaining anchored in the limitations of the old paradigm will make these realities seem distant or unlikely, reinforcing attachment to the familiar. In a state of 5D awareness, perception shifts from linear, conditioned, programmed thinking toward deeper, higher intuitive knowing. You begin to read the energetic patterns underlying reality, patterns of consciousness that reveal how everything is interconnected. In this higher understanding, judgment dissolves completely because it becomes clear that every individual is walking their own evolutionary path, and every stage of existence serve a higher purpose. You realize that you, too, once operated within layers of conditioning and limited awareness, shaped by human experiences on Earth. From this perspective, greater understanding and compassion replace criticism, and awareness takes the place of impulsive, inner reactions. Energy is no longer abstract but something deeply felt and interpreted, both within yourself, in others, and in the world at large. At this level, communication transcends spoken language. Information is perceived as encoded frequencies, light codes, sound codes, and vibrational patterns that embody universal knowledge and meaning instantaneously and holistically. The 5D experience mirrors this universal system, where knowledge is immediate and multidimensional rather than processed step by step, allowing a deeper understanding and awareness that Earth itself is undergoing an evolutionary transition, just like countless other planets and star systems. This is a natural cycle within the broader cosmic order. Accessing this higher awareness, while remaining embodied in human form, can sometimes be challenging. Integrating high-frequency perception with human experience can be disorienting, especially in the early stages. It may feel like starting over, even knowing you have reached higher levels of consciousness. Even within the fifth dimension, growth never stops. There are multiple levels, complex phases, and refinements within each dimension that cannot be bypassed. There are no shortcuts in consciousness expansion. Each level requires embodiment and integration. As awareness stabilizes, the physical body adapts, and what were once intense ascension symptoms become much less frequent and more easily manageable. The conscious frequency of the self acquires the higher self's ability to quickly rebalance the body, restoring harmony with greater speed and ease. Abilities feel extremely amplified yet also natural, activating the memory of the true self. This is a continuous, ever-evolving process. No matter how evolved we feel, there is always much more to learn, integrate, understand, and embody. Evolution is ongoing. Each phase opens the door to a higher understanding of existence itself. In a state of 5D consciousness, telepathy becomes a natural extension of awareness, starting from the recognition that energy itself is the true language of all existence. Communication is no longer bound by linear words or verbal expressions, but is experienced as direct knowing through higher frequencies, intuition, imagination, and intention. You connect with higher intelligence and the higher self of all others, with knowledge that transcends words, personalities, and conditioning, in a space of clarity and truth. In this field, there is no need to interpret or decode in the traditional sense, as information is received, understood, and transmitted instantly, through energetic resonance. Telepathy is not something you do, but something you align with energetically. It's an innate ability that emerges as consciousness refines and perception expands far beyond the limits of the programmed physical mind. In a state of 5D awareness, truth is not seen as a preference or chosen perspective, but as an exact, precise universal law, an indestructible energy force that cannot be manipulated. In 5D and beyond, truth is deeply honored because it has the power to pierce illusions, distortions, and false conditioning, exposing and revealing what is true and real. Truth cannot be sugar-coated. It can often appear direct, blunt, and sometimes even brutal, because it is not driven by human emotions nor designed to please the human ego. Its true and only purpose is liberation, to dissolve what is not real so that what is authentic can emerge and surface. Many in society resist truth because it challenges familiar identities and false beliefs that may still feel reassuring. Without truth, there can be no real evolution. It is through this uncompromising knowing that individuals free themselves from what no longer serves their evolutionary purpose, thus allowing the development of greater understanding, growth, and alignment with the higher self. A radiant future is unfolding as the self aligns with this truth-based path, with honesty, discernment, and the willingness to let go of comfortable illusions. What lies ahead on this planet may appear as a divine blessing to some, or as something frightening and destabilizing to others. Truth in the new earth energy will profoundly challenge ingrained beliefs, guiding the self beyond every familiar boundary. Within these apparent challenges lie extreme and profound opportunities to transcend the limitations of the conditioned small self and embody an expanded, integrated consciousness. Through this process of higher self-integration, with openness and personal commitment, multiple perspectives transform rapidly. What once seemed uncertain or overwhelming becomes much clearer and more welcoming. 5D consciousness is total acceptance of reality, understanding of the higher self, conscious commitment, and living authentically in true self-expression. It is the unfolding of the higher self manifesting in human form, a lived experience in a reality aligned with the higher self. In loving and devoted service to Ascension, compiled by the AscensionLightworkers, the Arcturian group, High Resonance Incoming Energies. Dear readers, a great change is actually taking place, but most of it is not evident because material manifestation occurs only after the energy of the original idea is fully present in the higher, invisible realms where creation takes place. The chaos you are observing worldwide is the result of high-resonance incoming energies coming into contact with and disturbing the dense three-dimensional energy already in place. Know that everything is proceeding according to plan. Trust and let the process unfold as it must for individuals and for Earth. Release any concepts you may still hold about what the ascension process should be like, how it should unfold, or how it should be experienced. Many are currently experiencing physical symptoms due to the integration of high-frequency energies into the cells of the physical body. Because cells have been programmed to act, function, and respond in certain universally accepted ways, the integrating higher resonance energies are not in full alignment with those already present in the physical body cells, and there may be some resistance. Common symptoms of the integration process include ringing in the ears, mild nausea, exhaustion, dizziness, and the reliving of old energetic experiences. You might wonder why, if the physical is a concept of the spiritual, unpleasant physical symptoms are so often part of the ascension process. If a person is on the other side, in the spiritual realms, There is no need for an integration process because there is no physical body with programmed cells. By choosing to be on Earth in physical form for the planet's ascension, integrating its higher frequencies is a process of integration and elimination that must simultaneously keep the body in good working order. You, as Lightworkers, chose to be on Earth in physical form for the ascension process to help raise Earth's collective consciousness, a necessary part of the ascension process. Life will never return to what many consider the good old days of the past. Everything is changing because consciousness, the substance of form, is changing. Many of you are realizing that things once seeming important simply no longer are, leaving you wondering, why did I think that movie, that activity, that food, that relationship, that job, that goal was so great or important? Yet, never believe the past was wasted time. Everyone's past is an important segment of their spiritual journey, necessary for learning and spiritual growth, but it was never intended as a destination. Everything is energy. Everything vibrates at frequencies that change and move from density to pure light as they become faster, higher, and lighter. For this reason, for anything, relationships, food, entertainment, work, beliefs, etc., to function harmoniously, energetic alignment is necessary, which is an activity of unity. Three-dimensional energy is simply too heavy and dense to align with the lighter frequencies of the invisible realms, which is why those living in three-dimensional density cannot see their guides, friends, or deceased relatives. The higher the vibrational frequency, the lighter and more refined the energy. Divine consciousness is pure, high-resonance light, invisible to the human eye. On Earth, energetic alignment is called the law of attraction. Since there is only one energy, this one always seeks alignment with all forms of itself, whether the frequency is dense or light. The consciousness of one who believes themselves weak and unlovable will automatically attract similar vibrational energy from a bullying consciousness. One who continually focuses on their physical body, constantly worrying about and fearing illness, automatically attracts disease and poor health. One who confuses sexual attraction with love often finds that relationships always end in failure because the alignment is with concepts and appearances rather than with love. As new frequencies are integrated, a person automatically loses alignment with the energies being replaced. Do not attempt to recreate the past hoping to revive a relationship or situation that worked well back then. You are witnessing this very process, with leaders attempting to recreate the world of bygone, outdated times. They encourage, promote, and even enact laws to re-establish the rules, laws and beliefs of earlier, less evolved eras, hoping to slow down humanity's awakening process. Consciousness, personal or collective, cannot regress to a previous, outgrown state simply because spiritual evolution is an unstoppable reality, and three-dimensional illusory dreams are concepts with no law to hold them in place. No soul can avoid, sooner or later, remembering that it is an expression of God, a divine being embodying all of God's qualities, because truth is divine law. God exists. Nothing else exists. Everything you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or have somehow come to know is a spiritual creation, simply because you cannot create something from nothing, and God is the only creative substance. The mind-formed, illusory, false three-dimensional interpretations of God's creations are not real, but are concepts of divine ideas. If disease, lack, pain, suffering, etc., were real or present in divine consciousness, they could never be healed or eliminated. Humanity, in ignorance of the truth, has created from states of consciousness conditioned by beliefs in duality, separation, and multiple powers, which has led to the three-dimensional world you know and that many believe to be the real and only world. This is why the ascension process is taking place. Despite the intense efforts of those seeking to keep humanity enslaved to fear, suffering, deprivation, limitation, and ignorance, the majority have reached a point of readiness for truth, and many have already begun to emerge from the illusory dream state that has held them prisoner for eons. Love is all that exists because God is all that exists, an omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient reality, individualized in infinite forms and varieties. Love is unity. God is, always has been, and always will be the only reality, infinitely expressing his, her completeness through all his, her expressions. No law, doctrine, rule, or social belief can change this, and therefore it is simply common sense to stop seeking physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual good in the material world where it does not exist. Many continue to believe that intellectual knowledge of truth automatically allows it to manifest in their lives, And when it doesn't, they believe they have somehow failed or that the truth wasn't so true after all. You must understand that consciousness is the creative substance of form and that intellectual knowledge of anything is a mental activity, the first step towards attaining awareness of it. Your state of consciousness is you. It is what you are and what you are in your expression, and it is reflected in your way of thinking, acting, and believing. It is yourself that automatically does, knows, experiences, believes, and lives without needing conscious thought. Example: you would never consider stealing from someone or a company because honesty is firmly rooted in your state of consciousness. However, there are others who do not hesitate to steal because honesty, an aspect of unity, has not yet become their state of consciousness. Spiritual truth must become a person's state of consciousness before it can outwardly appear as such. Every little truth revealed to you, often flowing silently into your awareness from your higher self without thinking or making any effort, begins as intellectual knowledge, but as you meditate on it, explore every facet, and expand your awareness through practice, it gradually becomes your state of consciousness, where it will begin to express itself in, as, and through forms you can relate to. Awareness of a self-sufficient, self-maintained completeness will automatically manifest as harmony. Things will go better than you could have predicted. The right job, the right home, the right partner or lack thereof, etc., will manifest effortlessly or without reflection if these things represent completeness for you. Synchronicity begins to manifest. You are guided to the right person, place, or thing you need, which might be completely different for someone else. However, completeness can, and will also manifest as the disintegration of three-dimensional ties if these are holding you back in old energies. Divine consciousness has always expressed, and will continue to express itself, not in part or as a single aspect, but in its fullness. This is why we urge you to practice, live, and contemplate the truth you already know, because more truth will be revealed to you. Bring truth into every aspect of daily life, rather than saving it for church or dinner conversations. Truth must become a living, pulsating reality to reach a state of consciousness where, effortlessly, it will simply do what it must do, be itself. God knows only the divine completeness of self-manifesting in every being and idea. We are the Arcturian group. Commander Vrillon. It will not be allowed greetings, dear inhabitants of Earth. I am Commander Vrillon of the Galactic Command. Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you to all who will read or listen to this message. I write to you with a message of hope and reassurance. In these times of turmoil and uncertainty, it is crucial to understand the deeper currents shaping your world. The wars and chaos you witness are nothing but distractions, orchestrated to divert your attention from the profound spiritual awakening taking place. Those who seek to control your Earth are clinging to their last vestiges of power, attempting to maintain dominance through fear and division. Their threats of nuclear destruction and mass slaughter of civilian populations are empty gestures, designed to instill terror and obedience. However, these tactics are backfiring, as humanity's collective consciousness rises above their manipulations. Within each of you resides a divine spark, a fragment of the true light, the one infinite creator. This spark is your essence, your true nature, beyond the confines of illusion. The forces seeking to control your planet fear this spark, for it is the source of your strength and liberation. As more of you awaken to this inner truth, the grip of those who wish to suppress you weakens. We, the Galactic Command, are here to support and guide you through this transformative period. We will not allow a nuclear detonation, as it would destroy not only humanity, but Earth herself. For many years, we have actively hindered your nuclear capabilities, and we will continue to do so, intensifying our watch during these times of upheaval. Our mission is to ensure the safety and spiritual evolution of your race, helping you break free from the cycles of fear and suffering imposed upon you. The material world, as you perceive it, is an illusion. This realm is designed to keep you trapped, caught in an endless cycle of fear and suffering. The Archons, whom you have come to know as reptilians, greys, and Anunnaki, are those who enforce this system, feeding on your low-vibration emotions. However, as more people awaken to their true nature, these control systems are crumbling. The recent global conflicts and economic crises are manifestations of intentional aggression aimed at sowing fear and uncertainty among the population. If they can keep your attention fixed on this conflict, you will forget the revelations and crimes they have committed, already made public, and be distracted from seeing any further truths that may emerge. As long as they can control the narrative you see and believe, they can control you. This period of upheaval is not to be feared but observed, for divine light has rendered it a catalyst for humanity's spiritual awakening. The challenges you face are opportunities to transcend the limitations imposed upon you, to remember your divine origin. By recognizing the illusion of conflict and the emptiness of threats, you can align with the higher frequencies of love, peace, and unity. Now is the time to unite, to come together in recognition of your common divinity. The forces seeking to divide you are losing their power as more people awaken to the truth of their existence. Embrace peace, for it is the natural state of your being. By choosing peace, you not only heal yourselves but also contribute to the healing of your planet. Remember, dear souls, that the darkness you perceive is nothing but an illusion, a temporary phase of your journey. The light of your divine spark is eternal and indestructible. Trust your inner light, trust the process, and know that we, the Ashta Galactic Command, are with you every step of the way. You are navigating this transition together, emerging into a new era of peace, unity, and spiritual enlightenment. We are here, and we are at the service of the light. Message from Commander Vrillon, Ashta Galactic Command.